everybody, this is Noelle for Petitti Garden Centers, and we're here at our Oakwood Village store, and we're going to show you a fun project for seed starting in the winter. And basically, we are using recycled milk jugs. And this project is very easy. It's a very, very simple way of starting a lot of, I should say, cold crops and crops that might take a long time to germinate or might need some cold stratification, which is a fancy word for just really needing some cold temperatures in order to get those seeds to germinate. So this is a great way to do it. And it is very simple. You start inside with just a few materials, seed starting materials, and then you can take these jugs outside, let the plants grow on, and it works really, really well, okay? And you can do this anytime during the winter. Everybody says you should start after the winter solstice, which is December 21st. And we all know everybody's, busy with the holidays at that time of year. So really, it can be any time after December 21st all the way through the winter months. So we're talking about, again, late March. Well, I should say mid-March, 20th, 21st, somewhere around there. So needless to say, this is really easy to do, and you're going to start out with just a gallon milk jug. I suppose you could use a 1 gallon. You just don't have as much space to grow the plants in. You could also use a 2-liter bottle if you wanted to as well. So that's something to consider. Any of those plastic items that you can upcycle and recycle and reuse, I think it's a great thing to do. You're going to make sure that these containers are going to be washed in soapy hot water, okay, and then rinsed out. And it's really nice to go ahead and dip them into a very weak bleach solution, usually 1 part bleach, 9 parts water, okay? And it could be just lukewarm water. And then you go ahead and you can dip the milk jug in and then go ahead and just let it air dry, okay? And you're ready to go. And then you take the milk jug, and you can honestly cut it before you do the sanitizing. It's a little bit easier if you do that. But what we want you to do is leave about 4 inches on the bottom of the milk jug. And so you cut all the way through about 3, I would say, well, a little bit less than that. We've cut mostly around the milk jug and just left about a 2-inch space just under the handle of the milk jug. And that's going to be your hinge, okay? So it's nice to have this full lid. This makes the milk jug more of a greenhouse, if you will, or if you're familiar with cloches, it's like a winter cloche, just a small one, okay? So what we've done, cut the milk jug, gone ahead, and we've filled it up with some seed starting soil. Again, seed starting soil is going to be lighter than most of your other soil or potting mixes that you're familiar with. It should be very light and airy. It should make the water drain or enable the water to drain out very, very readily, okay? The reason being is we don't want our seeds to be soaked and stay soggy and wet. That just causes problems, disease issues and whatnot. So we want to make sure that we're using a seed starting mix to really get that water draining away. I should have mentioned that we popped holes in the bottom of this, several holes, in fact, in the bottom of the milk containers too. You've got to have drainage when you're seed starting. So let's reverse, forget that I said anything about the seed starting soil yet, and go back and make sure you put plenty of drainage holes in the bottom of the milk jug. Okay, then you fill with your seed starting mix. Very good. We're ready to go there. We filled it up and we left about a 1/2 inch away from the top edge here, and that's called a watering space. And so when you start to water with watering cans and things, when you go to water, the soil stays down in the container. It doesn't bubble over the edges. Okay, so that's why you want to give yourself some watering space there. But right now, we pre-moistened the soil with just a spray misting bottle. And of course, once you get it into the container, if you want to moisten it some more, not a problem. We want that rich, deep brown color that you will get when the soil is evenly moist, okay? And that's a really good thing. It's ready to go and get some seeds. The types of seeds that we used, and I mentioned earlier, you can use any of your cold crops. And we have a video on seeding cold crops inside. And those would be the same types of crops. They could be edible crops or they could be flower crops, okay? So your cold crops could be your onion family, your brassica family, which is your cabbage, your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts. It could also be leaf lettuces or anything leafy like that. So Swiss chard, spinach, arugula, parsley, all of those types of leafy greens, those are really great to grow as cold crops and will do very, very nicely in the milk jug. The other plants that you can grow in this milk jug are things like real hardy annuals or maybe more cold tolerant annuals. So things like pansies, marigolds, snapdragons, those work very, very well and do really nicely. And in fact, we actually seed started some cosmos. So cosmos do really well in this type of condition. And then also perennial flowering plants, things like coneflowers, black-eyed Susans, a lot of your mint family, things like bee balm or agastaki, those work really well. Lavender works really well too in these type of cold starts, if you will. So, of course, we're doing this all inside, but we're going to, as soon as we are done starting and putting the seeds in and closing up these milk jugs, they're going to go straight outside. And it does not matter if there's snow on the ground. You just nestle them into a sunny spot, again, because we want sun to really start germinating and help us germinate these seeds. But it's okay that these plants start out cold, because once the winter season kind of fades and temperatures start to warm up, you'll start to notice that these plants will germinate very well and start to grow on, okay? So needless to say, we started with the cosmos and this milk jug. The cosmos, they barely want to be covered by soil. So I literally sprinkled them on and just tapped them down a little bit. They are just sticking to the soil surface right now. They're right on top of the soil. The coneflowers were more like they want to be planted at 1/4 inch deep. And of course, I found this information on their seed packs. So always keep your seed packs around. They always have great growing information on them. And so that's how we knew how deep to go ahead and plant these seeds, okay? So coneflowers about 1/4 inch deep. I just pushed them in barely into the soil, just lightly covered them a little bit with the soil surrounding them, and they're ready to go. After that, go ahead and spray mist again over the top, making sure that those seeds are, down in the soil, ready to go. That soil has nice, rich brown color. Of course, you want to tag your seeds as well. So you could use a plant stake, and go ahead and write on with a Sharpie or a pencil and go ahead and insert those into the containers. Or what you could do, and I've seen a lot of folks do this, is they'll go ahead and they'll close their milk jug. And to keep it closed, sometimes they'll tuck it in, or they'll go ahead and use some tape on the outside, and then, of course, write on the tape what the crop is so they know exactly what's inside that milk jug again. So you could use that as a plant marker as well, okay? These are ready to go outside. You don't want to remove this yet, and you see your lid or your top or your cap of the milk jug. You want to keep those on before the actual seeds germinate, okay? When the seeds do germinate, that's when you take your cap off. You want to make sure that they are getting any rain or snow that is coming down outside as well. So when you put these milk jugs outside into the elements, you're going to want them to be, again, sunny spot, as sunny as you can get, and out from underneath an overhang, okay? So you don't want them close, tucked into the home. You want them out on a deck, patio, porch, even out in the landscape beds or garden beds. If you're getting good sun and you can keep them out there, that's a good place to put them, okay? So again, take them out, go ahead and tuck them or tape them at this point. Leave this cap on, but of course check on them. And of course, keeping them taped or tucked means that you're keeping the moisture inside this mini little greenhouse, and that's good. We want that to happen, especially when we want these seeds to germinate, okay? So check on them every once in a while. You can always pop the cap off and look inside to see if anything has happened. Once the seeds germinate and pop open, that's when you remove this, okay? And just go ahead and take them outside. If things are starting to get a little bit warmer, do check the soil moisture. Make sure that the soil is not drying out, that your seedlings are not wilting. That's something to also check. And then, of course, go ahead and give them a good drink of moisture. I mentioned with starting seeds and cold crops and things, normally when your seeds have developed 2 true leaf sets, that's when you can go ahead and fertilize. So this would be the same. You can go ahead and use a water-soluble fertilizer like Jax. This is multi-purpose. Just follow the directions when you are using fertilizers and make sure that you know how much to use on your seedlings, okay? So do keep that in mind. Once you're ready and these seedlings have gotten real mature and they're filling up the milk jug, then you're ready to go ahead and prep an area in the garden or in a container where you want to plant them. Make sure that that soil is well draining. Make sure you can add some plant tone fertilizer to that soil as well in the containers or out in the garden beds. And then you can go in and you can start separating your seedlings, your starts, and then you can go and plant them in the garden or in containers. So this is a great, easy way to start those cold crops, to start some of those kind of hardy, cold-tolerant perennials and annuals. They'll do really well inside the milk jugs, and just keep them outside during the winter. Enjoy.